What's up, everybody? Welcome to Something Awesome. I'm Mike. Here with me as always is Rick.
I'm Rick.
With me as always is Garth. Got a cool episode for you today. We are going to... I'm not sure how I want to word this. Originally it was make a list of 5 movies that kind of shaped your personality. And then I also told you if you were having problems, like think of it as describe yourself with 5 movies.
Yes.
And we're gonna go down our lists, back and forth like we do with lists, and let you know what about these movies,
why they hit home,
and why we hold them so dear.
Yeah, because I feel like everybody who's watching or everybody who's listening, you have those core movies that hit your heart, your brain, your feels, that you kind of incorporated into your personality and the way how you grew up and your personality
and how you're living today. Mine specifically.
This was a really good one when you brought it up to me. I was like, fuck yeah, this is good. Good. And then I had trouble coming up man.
Yeah.
Because to define it, it's how early are we going? Are you going child? You said what kind of
defined you.
So
your personality, between, what shaped your personality?
From your first movie to probably till you finally hit your teens, right? I'd guess
that's
maybe
a way
20s.
to do it. That's a way to do it.
I figured once you hit 20s.
I think all of mine are.
But I got some good ones.
Nothing of mine is after 1989. Nothing on my list is after 1989.
Do you want to go first then? Because I really want to know.
Okay.
Are you okay? Mine is in chronological order?
Mine is in no particular order because I didn't want to look up dates. I got lazy.
Okay.
So mine is in no particular order. Down here, number five. These numbers don't matter. But the 5th movie on this list is 16 Candles.
Oh, wow. I would have not guessed that.
I really... I can't say I identified with this movie because it's about a girl who's, I guess the only thing that I could really relate to...
Did your friends forget your birthday?
No, it's not even that. It's the very introverted kind of personality that she has.
I see it. Okay.
As hard as that made me to believe for some people, I was pretty as a kid, specifically as a kid. When I saw this movie, I don't know, I was fucking kindergarten, maybe 5 or 6 years old when I saw this movie. And this is another list of movies I want to do. It's movies I saw when I was way too young to see them. But yeah, the idea, and again, it's we talked about it with the Jeff Anderson movie. We talked about it when we did our Say Anything episode. It's this movie feels really real and grounded. And the 16 Candles definitely feels this is a thing that can actually happen. There's nothing except for the Farmer Ted stuff with the panties and all that. There's nothing super, that's not even super fantastical. That's just that's an over-the-top comedic thing for comedy's sake, right? And then you got the foreign exchange student, which I don't think you could do nowadays, which Long Duck Dong.
I still haven't seen the movie.
You've never seen 16 Candles?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I've never seen the entire thing. Oh my
God. You guys are witnessing the end of a friendship right here on this podcast.
I've seen pieces of it. I haven't seen it.
Well, then it's hard for me to even describe this shit then. But yeah, it's about a kid who feels like their family has forgotten her because they have more important things going on. She's obsessed with the fucking popular boy in school, and there's some really funny stuff, and there's a party, and they're all high school kids getting drunk, which is something that in the 80s when the movies like this came out was this is what happens at fucking high school parties. Now you would never see a fucking movie made like that. In fact, the last time a movie got made with that kind of story to it, about kids in high school who are just trying to have a party and get drunk, that movie got shit on. Absolutely shit on.
Project X?
Yep.
I knew right away.
And I enjoyed that movie. I thought it was funny. And yeah, it was over the top and gross out humor, but it was a send up of it was what an R-rated teen comedy used to be, but modernized. And so yeah, it's going to be way worse now because they have access to way more things now. And I thought Project X was a fun movie. And I just remember hearing all the fucking backlash for that movie at the time. That's when it really started to go downhill where we just can't fucking have fun anymore, I guess, you know? But yeah, like, yeah, it's, you know, fucking rich kid throwing a party. He hates being the fucking popular kid because he's the rich kid and the popular kid.
Oh, it's so hard.
Oh, it's so hard to be liked by everyone. He just wants
white and rich.
And he wants, and it's Matt Dillon who is.
It was Matt Dillon?
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm pretty sure it was Matt Dillon. Look it up. I'm pretty sure.
I have no idea. I'm just sure.
Yeah, it's Matt Dillon. But yeah, it's a fun movie, and I think the thing I took away from it was kind of her Molly Ringwald's character's perseverance throughout the entire movie. Like, even though everybody forgot her birthday, she kind of just rolls with it. You know, she meets this freshman kid who's like, "Hey, if I give you $20, can I borrow a pair of your panties to make people think I had sex with you?" And she just like, instead of being like, "No, you fucking creep, get out of here," she's like, "All right." And like, she just kind of rolls with the punches. And then, you know, at the end of the day, she ends up, you know,
Justin Henry?
Huh?
Justin Henry? He was the guy, Mike.
No. Jake Ryan.
Jake Ryan
is the character.
Okay. Yeah, I can't find him.
But yeah, he ends up she ends up with the guy at the end, and he's got a sweet Porsche, and they drive away, and he tells her happy birthday, and everything's all right at the end. Like, it's, I don't know, the thing I really pulled from that movie was like, number one, I could see myself growing up and being like the Anthony Michael Hall character in this movie, who's Farmer Ted, and he's very funny, very in your face, very loud, very obnoxious, and I was like, I could totally see myself being that guy. And one of my favorite actors makes a cameo in this movie. John Cusack is in this movie for a short time, and he plays one of the nerds, and he's one of the friends of the Farmer Ted character, the Anthony Michael Hall character. He's friends with him, and like, yeah, he has very few lines. He's more of like there for reactions, but it's very good, and it's one of the first things he's in. And yeah, man, that's kind of what it is. It's like the perseverance that character has, where I was like, man, like, no matter what, like, yeah, she's hurt and she's kind of depressed about it, but she's just rolling along. I'm just gonna roll with it and see what happens. And that's something that I really took, even as a young kid, like, took from that movie. I was like, yeah, man, look at this fucking chick, man. They forgot her birthday. Her sister's more important than her because she's getting married on her birthday or the weekend of her birthday. This fucking dorky kid with braces is trying to hit on her. She likes this fucking, and who can't sympathize with liking the popular kid and like not being noticed by them, you know? Like, anybody can. So
sucks not to be noticed.
Yeah. And it's just the perseverance of that character that really stuck with me. So 16 Candles, that's why that's on this list.
Damn, that was good.
I would have gotten into a lot more of the jokes and stuff, but Rick having never seen it, there'd be zero reaction for any of these jokes because he wouldn't have context. So I can't do it, but I do love this movie. And this, I'm going to say it now. I'm going to make Rick watch this movie, and we'll come back somewhere down the line, and we'll talk about this movie.
Funny story about 16 Candles, though. Don't put me involved. Rick, edit this out.
Don't edit this out. This is going to be fucking on social medias. All right. Anyway.
But yeah, that's my 16 Candles story.
All right. What's your number 5?
All right. So personality. We're talking, you said, you know, personality, what defines you.
Right. Thing. So that can describe you. Yeah.
Describe me. So I'm thinking of like my characteristics as far as the person that I am.
Uh-huh.
And going in chronological order, but I'll say Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
I'm going to stick with Back to the Future, and then I'll tell you what the other one is. Because I remember the other one seeing, the other movie I'm thinking of, I actually saw in theaters. Back to the Future. I only saw Back to the Future 3 in theaters, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. But Back to the Future, man. Like, we're going to talk about that soon on this podcast.
Yeah.
But Back to the Future, all 3 of them. The third one I watched in theaters. That one I remember. I don't remember if I watched the first 2 in theaters. But that was my
real quick before you get in it. We're going to tag team this because the next movie on my list is
Back to the Future. Okay.
So we're going to both talk about this together without going too in depth because we are going to be covering these movies soon.
Okay. Easier for me to timestamp this then.
Yes.
So Back to the Future. It was it. Like, I wanted to be fucking Marty McFly. Dude. In every possible way. Dude. I wanted the jacket, the shirt.
Yeah.
You know,
I had that white and black shirt.
I wanted that.
I had a shirt that looked exactly like, it wasn't the same shirt, obviously, but it was close enough. And I insisted on wearing suspenders to school with that shirt.
Nice.
Like, yeah, dude, no, I got real deep. Like, Marty McFly made me want to pick up a skateboard.
Same.
He made me want to learn how to play guitar.
Same.
I had an unhealthy obsession with Toyota pickups for a while because of this fucking movie as a kid.
I didn't care for cars. I thought it was a cool car.
Yeah, like I wanted. I've said this about.
I wanted that car, that truck.
Yeah, I've said this about other actors, other characters and stuff like that. Like I just remember being like thinking as a kid, like, man. And it's funny because he's kind of an outcast and considered not a cool guy. But as a kid, I remember thinking, if I could be half as cool as Marty McFly, I'd be in fucking business, man. You know?
Yeah. Like, everyone would like me.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about getting a date.
Right. Yeah.
One of those aviators.
This is great because we'll be able to talk about why we like this movie, or what resonates with us. And when we talk about those movies, we'll actually be able to, like, review the movie and not have to like have all this extra stuff in. But yeah, man, it was fucking skateboarding, guitars, the pretty girl, the fucking truck.
It also got me into science fiction and science.
Yeah.
Like when I saw this movie, I was science is my subject.
Yeah.
This is what I want to know. Fuck everything else.
I want to learn how to make the flux capacitor.
Yes. So like time travel and like the paradox, and like I was looking all these words up because I wanted to understand.
Space-time continuum.
Wormholes.
1.21 gigawatts. Like all this
which
shit.
Isn't a real word.
No, it's not. But yes.
But that's what got me into like all my nerdy like obsessions with science and science fiction.
Yeah.
You know?
And then the other thing, seeing this movie again, I saw it probably when it finally came to cable. So it came out in 1985.
Yes.
So it probably came to cable, probably like what people don't now, especially younger people, what they don't realize is like to get something on home video took like a year before it came out on VHS. And then they had a window of time before it could come out on cable, like on HBO or whatever was your cable provider of choice.
Cable?
So I probably didn't see this movie until like 1988. When it was in heavy rotation on cable.
That's probably it for me.
So I'm 7 years old around that. And like, yeah, that's what really like I wanted a guitar and I wanted a skateboard and I wanted to be that guy. And then being old enough to recognize the mall that it was shot at. Because we used to go to that mall all the time.
I had no idea it was that close.
And then we again, grew up living in the city where that high school is. Like I went to that fucking high school.
You got to live Back to the Future.
I went to that fucking high school. Like, yeah, it's pretty nuts, man. And
that's insane. I'd kill to go to that high school.
High school.
When I found out and I was going to high school, I wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to go there, but my school district was closer. Yeah.
I went to Hill Valley High. Yeah. Technically.
Yeah. I didn't find out about those details until much later when I guess I could understand and process that. Mm-hmm. As far as like where they filmed it. Like I thought it was just a real city.
Right.
In California, somewhere far up north.
Yeah. Because a lot of movies did that at the time, that they would shoot something, then say it was LA, but then they would shoot interiors and houses in Pasadena. Yeah. Because they were more picturesque. Like
Pasadena, I think, was where it was filmed at.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I went to fucking Hill Valley High. Met my now wife in high school. Like it's really weird. It's really weird the parallels I had. And it's one of those things where it was like
to sea dance.
No, we went to prom together though. Oh. So it was just one of those things where like thinking about it now, it's like, fuck, okay. All right, I did fucking get to be Marty McFly a little bit, you know?
Technically,
yeah. All right. But yeah, that movie really fucking hit home with me when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think the closest high school that like I didn't go to this high school, but well, I guess that was close too. But like it was almost kind of rare to find people filming movies at least this far out of LA.
Yeah.
So like I know like American Pie was shot not far from here too. The high school was not far from here too.
Oh really?
Yeah, because the first American Pie.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you which school. I just don't want to say.
I got you. That's why I said growing up in that city. I went to that high school. Yes.
And then Yeah, because that part where they're at the restaurant where they're all sitting at the table, that was shot at the Orange Circle.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's the same way. I mean, Marty was my hero. Like, I took his vocabulary. I'm staying heavy.
Yeah.
You know, Great Scott too.
I became obsessed with Chuck Berry after seeing that movie.
Yeah, I listened to Chuck Berry too.
Yeah. This is. I'm gonna save it for when we talk about it. We can't. Yeah, we can't get too deep. But yes, it's one of those movies that shaped me as a child and the person I wanted to grow up to emulate.
I'm gonna have to talk to my dad to see if he took me to see that in theaters. I feel like he would have, because my dad loved taking me to the theaters because that was what I loved. Because I can't remember I remember vividly going to see the third one.
Yeah, I saw the third one in
1990.
I saw the third one in theaters.
Yeah,
I was probably for the longest time. I had until
like 4, so yeah, I wouldn't remember.
I was that documentary called Out of Time a few years ago that we watched. Yeah. We talked about that on the old podcast.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. Oh. Pretty sure we did. I'll check. I'll Google machine it later. Maybe you could fucking drop it in if it's real. If I just think about it, or think we did. But for a long time, I had no idea that one didn't end with "to be continued," because I didn't see it in theaters, and that's the only cut of the movie that didn't have "to be continued" in the Back to the Future font was the original theatrical cut. Because as soon as that movie came out, like that opening weekend, and it had a huge fucking weekend, they immediately put the second one into production. And it did so well that they shot 2 and 3 back to back, like together.
Yeah, they did.
And that's why at the end of 2, even if you saw that in theaters, at the end of 2, there's the coming attractions for 3 because it was already done.
Yeah.
They just had to edit it and wait. But yeah, we're going to get into that in depth, man. Oh, yeah. Because there's a few documentaries to watch when it comes to that movie and to talk about that movie.
And real quick, with Michael J. Fox too, I threw it at you on Twitter. Yes. I don't know if you saw it.
Yes.
But there's a documentary with Michael J. Fox coming out on Apple TV called Still, where it's basically is talking about his career.
Yeah.
And his career and fighting Parkinson's. So I will have to give you my login for that.
Yeah.
So you can check
I need to check that out. But yeah. So yeah, Back to the Future. So that was your 5. That was my 4. So now we're back to you with your your 4th movie on your list or whatever it may be.
Yes, that was my 5. So my 4th movie then would be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That was almost on the list.
I was hoping it was going to be on your list.
Almost on the list. Yeah,
this movie encapsulated everything about me. Michelangelo. And
shut up, you're Donatello. And as much as I'd like to be Michelangelo, I'm fucking Raph, and you're Donatello. Let's just fucking
I wanted to be the Raph, but I was Michelangelo, and then wait, Donatello was the leader, right?
No,
he was the science.
He's the science.
Okay,
yeah.
I got him confused for a second. Damn.
Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines. Okay,
that's right.
Raphael is cool but rude, and Michelangelo is a fucking party dude. All right.
Okay, you're right. Wanted to be Michelangelo, but I was Donatello for sure.
Same. I wanted to be Michelangelo, but I was Raphael.
The way they always crack jokes, the way they that was like this is me. Like I feel this. I took everything from that.
Yeah.
I made it my personality. I was obsessed with that movie.
I got obsessed with pizza when I was a kid because of that movie. I wanted to learn how to use nunchucks because I thought I was Michelangelo. Like, yeah, dude, I'm with you. I'm with you, man.
Domino's Pizza. We would always order Pizza Hut at my house.
Yeah.
And never Domino's.
Same.
And I kept telling my dad, like, we have to get Domino's.
The turtles fucking eat Domino's.
Turtles eat.
Yeah.
Like, but it's not good. It's not good. Pizza Hut's better. Like, fuck that. Turtles say it's good.
Yeah. Real quick about pizza, can we talk about, like, I know, like, fast food, especially people who live in places like whether it be New York or Chicago that have quote unquote real pizza. Can we talk about how what's considered shitty pizza now, Domino's, Little Caesars, Pizza Hut, all that is really shitty now. But when we were kids, it was actually good.
Yeah.
Like it was a lot better when we were kids. Now, look, pizza's pizza. There's no such thing as bad pizza. Even bad pizza isn't that bad, really. But
it does the job.
And like it was to the point where, like, you know, you could go to like a Round Table Pizza, which was more of a pizza parlor kind of place. Yeah. But like as a kid, I preferred Pizza Hut and Domino's because I really do feel like it tasted better then than it does now. Everything now is so mass produced out of those companies that I would fucking kill for a Round Table Pizza or a place like that now that is like a actual pizza parlor.
20 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, but okay, more like 40 years ago.
Yeah, back on the turtles. Sorry,
but you're absolutely right. Like pizza was the thing. Like I was obsessed with pizza. I wanted to learn how to fight. I wanted to be a ninja.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to learn the ways. You know, so glad there was no social media shit like that back then, or I had access to a video camera because I practiced the moves. Mm-hmm. You know, I wanted to be them so badly.
That's another one that like there's I've talked about it before on the other podcast that there's a few movies that like made me want to pick up a skateboard. The Turtles cartoon is one of the things that I was. That was great too. I need a skateboard. But we're talking specifically about the movie here.
But yeah, specifically was the movie because then that's when like it became that big hit. And you know, all like, all right, let's turn the machine on and crank this out.
Yeah.
And we got games, clothes, toys, every fucking thing you can possibly imagine.
I still have some of the toys in my grandparents' house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. With like the vinyl. You remember the vinyl case that you could buy?
Yeah.
That had like the slots and it was like I still have some of that at my grandparents' house.
Yeah. I had the turtle van.
Same.
You know, that was my prized possession.
I'll do you one better. Not only did I have the turtle van, I had it was a pop-up tent. So it was plastic PVC pipes that you would make a frame, and it had a vinyl fucking cover that you put over it, and it was a tent. And
I know what you're talking
vinyl
about.
cover, and it was the fucking turtle van. And I felt like I was the coolest kid on the fucking block.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I had two of those. I had the turtle van and I had the G.I. Joe tank. That was the same thing where you had to put it together with the PVC pipes. And then you just drape this ungodly, smelly, hot vinyl cover over it. It was the worst. But as a kid, it was the best.
It was everything.
Yeah, man. Wanted. Hell yeah, it was.
Yeah. But yeah, like Turtles from the 90s was, you know, and even until now, like, have you seen the trailer for the newest one?
No, not
the
yet.
Animation looks fucking great.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I think it looks great.
All right.
I don't know. It looks like kind of like the animation from Into the Spider-Verse. I don't know if you've seen that.
Okay, yeah.
But it feels very. It doesn't feel like 3D animation like the past ones. It feels more 2D.
Good.
You know, like the comic book and the original kind of like combined.
The animated movie that came out in like 2008, maybe it was 2008, before the Michael Bay stuff happened. That one is really fucking good, by the way, if you haven't seen that one.
I think you remember you telling me about it. Yeah.
It's
I don't think
really
I ever watched
good. But yeah. Don't worry, guys. Turtles is on the list too.
Turtles is on the list.
It's on the list too. All right, so now we're on to. Is that it?
Yeah, that's
okay.
I'm good.
I'm glad I could kind of tag team on a couple of these with you because I doubt very highly one of these might be on your list, but I doubt it because if you're doing chronological, you would have said it already. But I know this is not on your list. Labyrinth.
Ooh, no, it's not on my list.
Have you seen Labyrinth?
I have seen Labyrinth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we might be friends.
Due to my distraction from when I went to go see 60 Candles, they made me see Labyrinth.
So, I don't know if this is weird, but I think this says a lot about my personality, and I think you'll agree with this.
It's a great movie.
2 of these movies are female-led movies. It's not your typical fucking male-led movies that are on this list where I feel like really kind of shape my personality. Having an annoying little brother and seeing this movie and thinking, yeah, it would be cool to just get rid of this fucker, right? And then realizing how uncool that would fucking be because of this movie. And I was like, okay. So it kind of gave me more of an appreciation of my shitty little brother, Ben. If he's watching. He's not watching. He doesn't watch this. But yeah, so having a little brother and like the shit she's going through. And I was not that age. I wasn't old enough to where I was being left home alone to watch my little brother. But
by the Goblin King.
We kind of did have free run of like the house, you know? Like
you just do whatever you want.
Yeah. So I kind of was watching him all the time, but not really.
I could already
at the same time.
Your mom comment.
Yeah. Oh, she'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. because again, it's not like both of my parents were working when we were kids. Like just dad was working, mom was home. But me and Ben, and even to a certain extent, me and my cousin Jennifer, who you've met, who we're around the same age also. She's 4 years older than me, and then me, and then Ben's 4 years younger than me. So we're all same distance.
But me and my sisters are 4 years.
Yeah, and we all had we all kind of took care of ourselves, like for the most part when we were little, and I never felt like, again, just the only thing I identified with in this movie is how annoying I felt like my little brother was, because and like I get it, and
younger siblings are annoying.
Yeah, for sure. But I fucking love that dude, and and then again, like I said, feeling that way, like, yeah, that would be nice. And then by the end of that movie going, oh no, that would fucking suck to not have my brother, Like, so this movie, the reason why I put this on my list, not just because it's got great Henson and puppetry, not just because David fucking Bowie is the fucking man in this movie, and not just because of seeing it at the right age. It really is. It gave... The thing about this movie that really stuck with me is giving me that appreciation for my little brother, when I felt like at this time specifically, that it was not a burden, but just like a lot of fucking work to be an older brother, and then not wanting to be that, and then seeing this movie and realizing, oh dude, my life would fucking suck without my little brother. So that's the thing I take away from this movie. And then all the great characters, fucking Ludo, Fred, all that shit, and the fucking the door knockers. One of them's lying, one of them's telling the truth. You gotta figure it out. Sir Didymus and his fucking steed, just all the cool characters, and it's all this Henson puppetry and animation stuff that's in this movie. And there's a lot of stuff. If we were to things that really affected me as a kid, I'd talk about Fraggle Rock and other Henson puppetry stuff growing up. That was big for me, man. But this was the movie I could really throw on here and really drill down into why that movie means so much to me, and why I feel like that was integral to my growing up and my personality as I got older.
Yeah, and that movie still holds up to today. I watched it semi-recently.
Because everything's practical. That's why it holds up. And the puppets hold up because they always looked great. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, everything about that movie is just, it holds up. Yeah. The sets, the like you said already, it's just perfect.
I remember seeing Yorick the Goblin King doing the contact juggling with the balls and wanting to learn how to do that. That. Again, this is me man, if I could be just that amount of cool, I'd be in fucking business, man. But yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, some of us, or some people that I'm friends with on the server, they haven't seen, some of them haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And Space is probably about the same age as us, maybe a little bit a year or two younger. Also loves that movie, so we ended up all. Me and him got everyone to watch it. So we watched it on the server. So some people who haven't seen it, and they liked it, and it held up.
Can we talk about how good the music is? Not just the songs that Bowie sings, but the score and the ambient stuff. Huggle, that little piece of shit. Everything in this movie holds up. And if you guys haven't seen The Labyrinth, you need to figure out a way to see it. It's probably streaming somewhere. It's probably on demand. It's probably DVD and Blu-ray.
JustWatch.com will show you wherever it's playing everywhere.
But yeah, man, Labyrinth, that's one of those ones that, like I said,
that's good.
The thing that really sticks with me is it gave me a real appreciation for my little brother.
If I watched it a lot earlier, it probably would have been on my list.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that so much later.
All right. You're number 3, sir.
My number 3, speaking of science fiction and robots and shit. Although this movie came out in the 70s, I saw it much later.
Okay.
And that is Star Wars.
Okay.
Star Wars New Hope.
Yeah.
I watched
actual Star Wars, guys. Actual movie called Star Wars.
It was actually just called Star Wars. They added a New Hope later.
Yeah, when the
movies came out. Was it when the second trilogy came out? I thought it was once they finished. Oh, no. You're right. Yeah, it was when
Yeah.
Because that's when they had the Phantom Menace. And, So I originally watched Empire Strikes Back young, when on VHS at a neighbor's house, but I didn't really absorb it.
Right.
It was late. I was sleeping or falling asleep. I didn't absorb it basically, and I ended up watching it again when I hit middle school for what 7th grade is middle school, right? Yeah. When I hit 7th grade, my friend, I still remember his name, David, and he was talking about Star Wars. Like, you haven't seen Star Wars? I'm like, I think I've seen it. Like, you gotta watch it. We were like straight after school. We went to his house because he lived directly across the street from the school, and we watched. Did we watch all of them? I think we watched all of them. Yeah, because he had the trilogy on tape, and we watched all 3 movies, and I was just like mind blowing. Like, I love this, I want this, and I told my dad, I want the Star Wars trilogy on tape, and I basically burned the shit out of the first movie. Like, I watched it over and over. It was everything. It was everything I wanted, and that basically turned me into David was the one that turned me into a Star Wars nerd.
That's funny.
Yeah,
it's a Western though. Not a science fiction movie. It's a Western.
I mean, he stole from Western. Yeah. Just put it in space.
Yeah, that's it.
Like Firefly.
So David turned you into a Star Wars nerd, huh?
Yep. That's all him. I was obsessed with them. I'd watch them. Like, there's David, Brian, and who was there was another friend too. Well, Michael too, but I didn't meet Michael until 8th grade.
Michael.
Yeah, the Michael I still talk to today.
Other Michael, we call him. In this vicinity, we call him Other Michael, and we give him side eye. He's a fucking cool dude, though.
He is.
I know he refers to me as Other Michael also, so we're on the same page here.
Yeah, but yeah, like I still talk to him, and we would do sleepovers and just watch Star Wars.
Yeah,
but just obsessed with it. Of course, Han Solo was the cool guy, but of course, who did I gravitate towards too? Chewbacca. Chewbacca, because he was tall. I was this tall, stupid kid. So like, hey, there's another tall person here. But yeah, Chewie was my guy.
This comedian's got a bit about how his friends always try to tell him that Chewbacca is Latino. Yes, his name is Chewie, and he rolls all his R's, and he's a mechanic.
Yes.
And then he says, if anybody in the Star Wars universe is Mexican or Latino, it's R2-D2, because if you say it fast enough, it sounds Mexican.
R2-D2.
But yeah.
That's funny.
I've
heard that.
I know people that growing up thought R2-D2 was R2-D2 and was a Mexican robot, if you believe that. But yes, pretty funny stuff.
I mean, we got the representation now with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
And Diego Luna.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac. Well, Oscar Isaac, I think, is Guatemalan.
Doesn't matter. He's Hispanic of sorts. But yeah, man, that's awesome. Star Wars. I don't have as much of love or affinity for Star Wars as the most people I know. And again, everybody thinks I hate Star Wars. I don't hate Star Wars. Star Wars is fine. Especially those first 3 movies. Those movies are good. But I'm not I wasn't obsessive over them. It wasn't and I've talked about this before. The sci-fi movie I was obsessed with as a kid was The Last Starfighter. Last Starfighter and Flight of the Navigator were the 2 sci-fi-ish movies that I was obsessed with as a kid. Spoilers, not on the list, by the way. Those are not on the list. Flight of the Navigator was real close. Flight of the Navigator was real close.
Yeah, I could see it close for me too.
Yeah.
Because that was
definitely
that movie kind of scared me.
That was definitely in the top 10 for me. Yeah. But yeah. So Star Wars, huh?
That movie scared you? That movie kind of scared me.
No, it didn't scare me.
Because the dude falls into a ravine, doesn't wake up 20 years later, and he's still the same. Like, that was my fear was falling into a ravine.
Your irrational fear.
As a kid, was falling into a ravine.
Yo, that is so fucking Dante. That is so Dante. I refuse to use the bathroom because sharks live in water. That's fucking you, man. Oh my god.
Watch out for those reviews. They'll eat you open. Oh my god, I'm broken now.
That's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Side tangent real quick, although we did kind of do a side tangent.
That's okay.
You never watched Clone Wars?
I watched a little bit. I haven't seen enough of it.
They've never really called to you or
I thought it was cool, but no, it didn't really pull me in. I thought it was cool.
Watched Rebels?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
But again, I thought they looked cool. Just I'm not. Star Wars isn't my.
Yeah, I know Star Wars isn't anything. I think you would like Rebels maybe, because it kind of like veers from like the Skywalker stuff. It's its own thing. Yeah. It's basically like almost like Firefly in a sense, that they have their own adventures, and it's all about this character. But like you don't have any like. I mean, you get like cameos here and there, but it's not. Like
I think a lot of the stuff that I won't say pushes me away, but just like where I go meh when I see a lot of that stuff is like whether it be Firefly or even the other Star Wars related stuff. It's all so derivative of those first 3 movies, like that style, like fucking weird star wipes or circle wipes, like. It's all so derivative of, well, we got to have the fucking cocky Han Solo character. We got to have the Luke Skywalker character. We got to like everything that came after Star Wars that was science fiction was affected by Star Wars. And I think that's kind of what the sci-fi that I do like is the stuff that intentionally veers away from that formula and does something different.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, I also bring it up too because the Ahsoka trailer came out.
Oh yeah.
And it's highly connected with Rebels.
Yeah.
And like I love Clone Wars, don't get me wrong. But Rebels, almost I would say it's better than Clone Wars. Don't at me.
I'd buy that. A lot of people say that. Like I know people that love Rebels.
Rebels is good. It's because like you don't have that backstory. So like because Rebels is a hell of a thing to take on. It's 7 seasons.
Yeah.
And like only the last 2 seasons are short. And all the other ones are like, I think, full 22 episodes. And
Jesus.
Not only that, it's hard to watch them because they're kind of out of order, too. So you kind of have to watch in a particular way.
Non-linear storytelling. Gotta love it.
So that's what draws a lot of people away, I think, for the first timers. But I managed to get myself to do that. And that's why I watched Rebels first, was because it was already linear. Like, it already knew where it was going, you know. And after they made it after they Disney bought Star Wars, too.
Yeah, the Rebels was like one of the first things they did, right?
It was one of the first things they did. And but yeah, the Ahsoka trailer came out and live action Ahsoka, live action Rebels crew. We don't see Ezra yet, but we see Sabine, who I absolutely love, a Mandalorian. And then we do see Hera, who is played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, which I think is a perfect casting.
Love Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm super excited for that.
Cool, man.
Super excited. But yeah, that's my little side tangent.
Okay. My number 2. I almost feel like I should switch these. No, I'm not. I'm not going to switch them because the last movie I talk about is super fucking obvious.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Number 2 is The Karate Kid.
It is super
obvious. What are you swapping?
No, I think it is super obvious.
Yeah. Number 2 is The Karate Kid. And that this movie, like, again, seeing it made me want to learn martial arts of some kind. And I have to bring this up because I know it's like the cool thing to say now, but you've known me nearly 20 years and I've been saying this for a long fucking time. Daniel LaRusso was the fucking villain in that movie. And even as a kid, I hated him. I fucking hated him as a kid. Like, yeah, like, again, a movie that's a Western that's not a Western. Karate Kid is a Western. New kid in town, too big for his britches, gets shut down. It's a Western. He tries to be the new sheriff in town, and he gets fucked over by the guy that's supposedly the villain, when in actuality, he's the villain. Like, yeah, I always thought this. And then it became really popular. This opinion became really popular after How I Met Your Mother, when Barney has that whole... It's the only thing of How I Met Your Mother I've seen, because people who have known me longer than that show has been out were like, oh my God, Mike, I think somebody has been listening to you. You need to see this. Because it's
been around.
It's all the same shit. Like I've said as a kid, I was like, man, like he tried to fucking... He threw sand in his face and sucker punched him. He's the bad guy. He's the villain. And yeah, Johnny gets a little out of hand and fucking breaks the radio. But he does that because Daniel starts getting in his face when he has no fucking business in their business. So
I have to drop that link in there to that one video, how Daniel LaRusso's the villain. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I sent it to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you watch that YouTube video, it goes into like so much detail.
Yeah.
like how he tried to de-escalate it, but Daniel just keeps escalating it.
Yep. And he used an illegal kick in the finals, and they let him win anyway. And like, he lies about being a black belt to get into the fucking tournament. Like, he's a fucking he's the villain in all those movies. And the only movie, and they talk about it a little bit in Cobra Kai, but the only movie
I gotta finish
that really addresses him being the bad guy is 3. When he actually is training with Cobra Kai guys. Like, that's the only movie where they ever
not Grease,
Terry Silver.
Yeah.
That's the only movie where they even kind of like realize, okay, we gotta kind of, he is the bad guy here. But yeah, it's one of my favorite franchises. It's popular to say I don't like the Hilary Swank movie, but for what it is, it's fucking fine. I get it. But yeah, man, I have not finished all of Cobra Kai yet, but I love the trilogy of movies. I love what I've seen of Cobra Kai. I think it's awesome that, again, because it's the cool thing to say, they kind of, in that first season of Cobra Kai, they tell the story from Johnny's perspective.
It's a Johnny story, basically. Yeah. It's not really a Daniel story.
And again, I understand that it just sounds like I'm parroting everything that has been said lately or since that episode of How I Met Your Mother. But I've been saying this even since I was a kid.
Yeah. No, yeah, I remember like it first came up too, when at least for us, when I knew you, was when Dan Trachtenberg was talking talking about it, and then I think Alex was the one that brought up that video too.
Yep.
And
I was like, I've been fucking saying this forever, man.
Yeah. And so yeah, I knew it. Like, and I see it. I can see it, but I dismiss it.
So yeah, this movie was, again, growing up where I grew up, used to go to golf and stuff all the time and recognize that place immediately because we would drive by it all the time just to go from where I was living to go to my aunt's house or go to my grandparents' house. We'd pass by it all the time. So I think it's the familiarity is one of the things that kind of makes it feel grounded because it's something I know. But yeah, made me want to learn martial arts. I thought the Cobra Kai guys looked so cool, even though they were assholes. I was like, oh, they look cool. I thought Mr. Miyagi was awesome. Like really bringing in like the Eastern philosophy of karate and kind of explaining to a new audience what the mission statement of karate is. Yeah. It's never to start a fight. It's never to settle a fight. It's to defend yourself. Like, yeah,
it's like last case scenario.
Yeah.
De-escalate rather than escalate.
Right.
And and I like how they pay tribute to him in the Cobra Kai.
Really good stuff.
Like, they do some really good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not like forced either.
No.
Or done in like a bad way. Like it's done gracefully, and at least in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, totally, dude. Totally. But yeah, man, that movie really kind of like hit home, and it's like, man, I don't want fucking Daniel's an asshole, but I don't want to be like the Cobra Kai guys either. Like that was more about trying to find the middle ground of those two personalities because they're not all bad. Neither one of them is all bad. They all have their negative fucking qualities, and I think that's, as I got older and watched it, I think that's something I really enjoy about the movie is seeing the dichotomy of the hero and the villain, but then we're not so different, you and I. Like essentially, like that's kind of the story is like, you guys really aren't that fucking different. But yeah, Karate Kid was another one of those movies that made me want to learn martial. Like it made me want to fucking learn something because of it. And that's kind of why it sticks with me.
I get it. Yeah. My number 2.
Yeah.
Take a guess. We're going in order. So
we're in the 90s here.
A little bit further. Yeah.
Man, I don't know. The only there's like a few movies I think of when I think of you, and Can't Hardly Wait is one of them, and I'm wondering if that's on the list somewhere.
But it's not.
No, okay, what is it?
Mallrats.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I kind of had a feeling like maybe you might guess it. Yeah, Mallrats, man. I mean, I'm a comic book nerd. Everybody knows that. Like, I love Marvel, DC.
Yeah.
Whatever's left of Image if it's even still around. Yeah. And watching Mallrats Even the shitty TV version at the time.
I would argue that it's the best version of that movie. We talked about this also.
Right, we did. It was like I saw me on that, you know, like holy shit, this guy reads comics. He's talking all this crazy shit, you know.
But when push come to shove, he's like whatever, man.
Whatever. Yeah, you know, like going to the mall, like that's what me and my friends did too. You know, go to the mall and just like waste time there.
Yeah.
Instead of going home, we'll just take the bus that circles to the mall and hang out there. And I was I was pretty much the Brody in a sense, always reading comics. Like that was my way of reading. Like I never in school, I didn't really like reading books.
Yeah.
I like what interests me was like graphics and bubbles, I guess. But yeah, like everything the way he is, like he's kind of an asshole. But so I wouldn't say I'm totally like him. But the comic aspect of it.
Yeah, you're kind of a mix of the two characters for sure.
Yeah, Brody and TS. Yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of like like you said, like a mixture, but like that, like to me it was like, oh, this guy's pretty freaking cool. Like I don't talk like this guy, but seems really cool as far as me being a teenager, of course.
He's super abrasive.
But yeah, that's one that like the soundtrack of it. I know we kind of talked about that.
That soundtrack.
Soundtrack also opened my ears up to so much awesome music too, which is why I guess I'm kind of sneaking that into the movie as well too, is shipping me.
That opening bass riff to Social at the very beginning is chef's kiss.
My cousin was a weird guy. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Mallrats is definitely one.
Yeah, I like that movie a lot too. Again, I saw that. That was the first. Like I think I talked about this in the other one. That was the first Kevin Smith movie I saw. But and I saw the VHS, and then later on saw the TV cut. And we talk about this in the View Askew ranking episode we did. But that TV cut is something special, man. That TV cut is something that people who are fans of the movie and haven't necessarily seen that, we got to search that out. You got to try and find it online somewhere and find that cut, because it is something special. It's something speciel.
Kevin still owns the rights to those. Maybe he can do
put it on a DVD on an anniversary collection. Well, on the 10th anniversary, didn't he put the original cut?
He put the original
on
cut
there. Yeah. With the big crane shot that he talks about costing so much money, but he wanted to prove he was a real filmmaker, so he used this gigantic crane reveal shot. And then there's like in firearms and yeah.
It took like 20 minutes before they actually got to the mall.
Yeah, dude, that opening is rough. It's not terrible because there's still a lot of the same charm in it, but it is rough. My number one, even new viewers.
Gee, I wonder what it is.
Should not be surprised, but it's and I talk about why on this episode here. Haha, now you have to do it. It's Say Anything, and that just to kind of echo what I said when we did our episode about that movie is like I wanted to be Lloyd Dobler, and it was another one when I was younger. I was like, man, I want to learn how to kickbox. The Clash. Who's the Clash? Mom, do you have any Clash albums? Anybody we know have any Clash records? I need to hear this band. I got really into a lot of things in that movie because of that movie, and like I talked about on the episode, like just wanting to be half as good of a human being as Lloyd Dobler is in that movie, you know? And that's kind of like, that was like the high bar. It's like, if I could remind anybody on this planet of Lloyd Dobler in any way, shape, or form, then I fucking won. So
there's a fine difference between being that nice person and doing I'm not talking about Lloyd Dobler.
Right.
Being a nice person and doing things and being considerate, to your fellow human. And then there's Lloyd Dobler.
Yeah.
You can see the genuine what's the word? Genuosity.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah.
But the genuosity of Lloyd,
yeah.
And how he how his cadence and the way he talks and the way you hear him, like his words are soft but heavy and have meaning behind them.
Yeah.
Compared to like someone who's just like, yeah, that's totally awesome, blah blah blah. Like, sure, like they're a fine person,
right?
Sure, but they're not Lloyd Dobler.
Yeah,
that person's not Lloyd Dobler.
They basically say that in the movie too.
Yeah, I know. I'm totally saying the same thing
about it. Yeah,
I know. I'm totally saying the same thing, but it's true. It is true, and this is me, I guess, blowing up your ego here. I totally saw that with Mike.
Yeah. So my wife says too.
That
makes me happy. Like legitimately.
And it's true. And it's true. You see that with Mike. Like it's genuine. And then you can see that with other people too. And I'm not saying that they're bad people because they're
not at all. Yeah.
But there's just a difference between when you're having a talk with someone like Lloyd Dobler or who has that Lloyd Dobler-esque.
Yeah.
Because there are those Lloyd Doblers that are still out there. Compared to when you talk to a person, which is completely fine too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the one. Like when I came up with so I looked at the date for this list when I made it, and apparently I made it like in 2019 because this topic has been like floating around in my head that long to do on the podcast. Yeah. And then when I messaged you about it, and I was like, yeah, and then I looked in my notes and realized I already had a list. But I had started writing a list, and the very first movie I put down is Say Anything. Like that's always going to be the first movie I write down when it comes to describe yourself with 5 movies or
all-time favorites.
All-time favorites, or describe movies that shaped your personality, like things like that, like things that are very important to how I present myself. That's Say Anything, whether it's the character of Lloyd Dobler, whether it's the music or even like the fashion to a certain extent. Like that's always going to be on top of any list that has to do with why are you the way you are, Mike? Say Anything. That's number 1 always. And so there was no way I couldn't put that on this list. There's no way I couldn't put it on here. And I know we did an entire like almost 2-hour-long episode about this movie. So
it'll be linked.
Yeah, it'll be linked. Go watch it. It's great. I love it. But I'll keep it short and sweet. Like that's
also, we're only like a few episodes in, so you can go back and find it. It's not that hard.
Yeah. That's it, man. Yeah, that's my list.
All right. So I do have a movie. But I find like television shows more have a hit for me.
Okay.
This is still a movie though. But specifically the writer of this, and no, he didn't direct it. That's right. Obviously he didn't direct it. But the writer of this movie. But this kind of also opened my doors to things that I had shut for a long, long, long time because of my Christian upbringing. And that is Scream.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I remember, I've talked about this already, seeking to watch that movie and just like blowing my mind. Kevin Williamson, creator of Dawson's Creek, which is, I used to be shy about saying this. I love Dawson's Creek.
First 2 seasons of Dawson's Creek
they're great.
Off the charts, man. Off the charts.
But yeah, like Scream definitely opened the door to horror for me and made me feel more, sounds odd to say, comfortable with horror.
Right. No, that makes sense, man.
And seeing it because like it's kind of the first of its kind being meta, kind of throwing the meta word around, but poking fun of itself, who like the rules the go by, who's gonna die and how are you gonna survive, that just completely opened the door. I'm like, oh, there's a formula to this, like there's kind of like little things here and there like you can catch. I'm like, all right, I kind of want to watch more horror movies and see if I see that. And that's where the analytical side of me came out, where I just wanted to know. But I did enjoy kind of like, I don't like to be scared, but at the same time, it's fun to be scared.
Yeah.
I feel like Kevin Williamson's way of writing did that for me with Scream. And then obviously the phenomenal directing of Wes Craven as well too. Seeing nods to Wes Craven's movies in and other horror directors, George Romero in this movie, and like all the other like horror movies that had like little Easter eggs here. And like I felt it was the rejuvenation of horror movies.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Scream rejuvenated that genre in a big way. But and not that it was ever dead or gone for a long time, but
brought it back to life.
It put it back in the mainstream. And I think it was because of the analytical way that Kevin Williamson attacked the writing of that movie. Yeah. And I think for people who may not have been fans of horror because they just, whether it's like, oh, I don't like just gross out horror for the sake of it, or horror movies are just gore and this and that, blah, blah, blah. But when you literally had a character in the movie break down the formula of a horror movie, it makes it more accessible.
Yeah. And it kind of like, for me, someone who's scared, walks you through the process of what's going to happen.
What is scaring you and why it's scaring you.
Yeah. That just boom falls into my category. Yeah. I love that. Dissecting something. And just...
After seeing that movie and hearing that formula, and not every horror movie works in that formula.
Right, of course.
But every horror movie does use some of that formula, and you can go all the way back to freaking Night of the Living Dead, and some of that stuff that they talk about in Scream as the quote formula for a horror movie goes all the way back to that, dude. Like it's a really great movie, and I don't think it gets the credit for being as good of a piece of cinema as it is. People appreciate it as a horror movie. People appreciate it as a slasher. People appreciate it for making horror movies kind of mainstream again, but I don't think it gets enough credit for how actually good of a piece of cinema it actually is.
Absolutely. It also could be one of those things where it's just ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Because as you go on past that date, like you kind of start seeing that appreciation for it.
Yeah, then you get I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah. And then you get all the copycat movies.
Well, I Know What You Did Last Summer, I think, was also Kevin Williamson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, Scream.
Similar to like slasher. We basically got a whole brand new slasher genre. Yeah. Or not a new genre, but like a revitalized.
Oh, yeah, revitalization of the genre for sure. It's funny that I'm glad you brought this up because there's a podcast I started listening to last summer called The Offering with Jerry Horror. And it's one-man show where he talked about all the Scream movies throughout the course, and he does his shows in seasons. He does like 12 episodes, and he talked about how this movie came about, how Kevin Williamson wrote it, why he wrote it, and why it's as meta as it is. It's audio, so you're good. You can check it out, and yeah, it's called The Offering with Jerry Horror. Go check that out, man. It's funny because like his tagline is mostly horror, but always genre. So it's always like a genre flick that he covers. Okay. And it's an awesome podcast. And the dude does awesome work. So go check it out. He talked about all the Scream movies really in depth.
I like that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kevin Williamson. Obviously because of Dawson's Creek. But like I said, I Know What You Did Last Summer. He wrote other stuff. Yeah, he wrote all 3 of the first ones. But I think I'm sure he had like a hand in it because they were based on his characters. Yeah. But yeah, man, that Scream movie definitely was another one. Like I like as far as like personality wise, of course, who doesn't love Stu? You know, Stu's the guy. You know, even though I have some kind of a little beef with Matthew Lillard, which if we will get into it, maybe, but I don't know if I want to get into it. Okay. But I do have some beef with Matthew Lillard.
All right.
I loved his character.
Yeah.
You know, just that charismatic friend. You know, this is before him knowing who he is. Right. You know? But of course, Randy's my guy.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. He's the one dissecting everything and thinking of everything in pieces and everything. And I recently rewatched all of them up to the new one that just came out. I don't know if I told you that.
Yeah, you did.
But like going through it after it being a long time since I've seen, like, especially 2 and 3, I haven't seen it in a long time. My opinions of it has changed in a good way.
Okay.
A lot of people hate the third one. Yeah. A lot of people hate the third one. I didn't like the third one either at first. Like, it's good, but it could have been better.
Yeah.
But going through it,
the way they kind of shoehorn shit in there to make it all work is kind of
Mickey or not Mickey. Roman was the only killer who's alone. Who was working alone in the third movie. I think it was all Roman because he's the director.
I think at that point they should have just, if they were going to do this, not necessarily passing of the torch thing that they're doing now, but almost like they could have made Scream an anthology with that third movie and just had it, if it had nothing to do with Sidney Prescott and just had.
Well, they did come out with that show that is part of it, but it has nothing to do with Sidney.
Right.
As far as I know, I didn't watch the show.
I think if, and again, people would have hated Scream 3 if Sidney wasn't in it. But I think if Sidney's not in Scream 3, I think people have a better appreciation for what that movie is. If it's somebody else.
I could.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a nice, Brandy was still in the third one, on tape.
That's the fucking dumbest thing ever, man.
You didn't like that?
That's so fucking dumb.
Oh my god, that's like one of my favorite parts.
No, because again, in the first
because it makes sense that he would do that.
No, but in the first movie when he's talking about the formula and stuff, and that in the second movie, but having him on a fucking, if you're watching this, I'm already dead. They're fuck off. That is the dumbest cheeseball cornball way of getting him into the third movie, getting that character into the third movie. That's so
strongly
dumb.
Disagree.
Oh, it's the worst.
I wholeheartedly disagree. I thought it was fucking awesome and amazing because it seems like a Randy thing to do.
Yes, though.
It would seem like something I would do.
I don't know, man. I thought that
if you were in that, I would totally do that. For
if anything else. About Scream 3 that is where I oh, this is terrible. It's that.
It's oh my god.
Yeah,
that's where we're gonna have to disagree.
These are on the list, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen.
Scream movies?
Yeah, we got to do that.
That means you're gonna have to watch the other ones too.
I don't want to watch the new ones.
Oh,
I don't want to watch the new one.
The latest one. The opening.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not saying again.
I know you haven't seen it.
I'm not saying that fucking the last one and the 5 and 6, whatever they are bad. I just fucking let things be dead, man. Just leave things alone.
I totally get that too. I get that thing.
I thought 4 was a bit much. We reviewed 4 on our old podcast, and it's fine. I think I really liked it at the time, but as time has gone on, I'm like, eh.
I could agree with you there.
Yeah.
I could probably agree with you.
Yeah. Let's see. Again, we're getting way off topic right now, but that's why I like doing this. We have a fucking time capsule where we can go back and listen.
I will link that episode.
We'll listen to how much, I'm pretty sure all 3 of us really liked Scream 4.
I know we all liked it.
But now I'm like, it's all right. Taste change, man.
Taste change over time.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh man, we'll do it. We'll do it because I can talk forever about Scream.
But that's gonna be one we have to tackle individually. We're not gonna be able to do all of them in one episode. Yeah.
Because you got the first 3 movies, then you got the standalone 4, and then you got these new 3. Mm-hmm. Well, they said they don't know yet if they're making another one, but they are.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Scream. It definitely. Yeah, you're definitely
makes sense,
Randy.
Right? Yeah.
You're Randy that wants to be Stu. But you can't get out of your own way to be Stu, so you're just Randy.
I can't get my brain to shut the fuck up sometimes.
Yeah. So those are our lists, man.
Okay.
Let's run them down real quick.
Okay, here's the rundown.
I'll go over my 5 again. All right. It's Say Anything, The Karate Kid, Labyrinth, Back to the Future, and 16 Candles. Those are my 5 movies that if somebody said to me, what are 5 movies that kind of shaped you as a human being? Those are the 5 movies I would tell them.
My 5 movies are Back to the Future, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 90s, Star Wars, Mallrats, and like I said, Scream.
Mm-hmm.
I have an honorable mention. I don't know if you might.
No, that's fine. Go for it.
Okay. This honorable mention because I had it on here before. I'm like, Scream. How did I not think of Scream? Yeah. And that is a little later, 2004. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Okay.
Which, if you think about it, yes, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I do think about it, I'm like, Old Rick, yes.
Uh-huh.
It's Old Rick.
I think, so I have this movie I was teetering with this movie, not putting it on the list because, again, when this movie came out, I'm already an adult and really feel like I've myself figured out. But a movie that I messed around with and it was in like the top 10 or 15 movies I wrote down was Shaun of the Dead.
That's another good one too.
Not necessarily because I learned about myself by watching that movie, but what I learned from that movie kind of reinforced how I feel about my relationships with friends. Like that. Okay. And again, it's something I already knew, right? But seeing that movie like reinforced, like, fuck yeah, man. Like I would the people that I consider in my tight circle of friends, I'd fucking die for because they're more like family. Like Vin Diesel says family in Fast and Furious. Like those people that are in that tight knit group are more like family than friends. And I would walk to the ends of earth and do whatever I had to do or could do for them. And I think Shaun of the Dead and, you know, that trilogy of movies really kind of reinforced that. It's something I already knew. But yeah, that's a movie that I toyed with putting on the list. But yeah, I couldn't really think of anything.
I mean, I guess we're like the only other one, but like I feel like I'm already too old for this. Was my all-time favorite movie, which is Perks of Being a Wallflower. Mm-hmm. But I saw that so much later and much older. Yeah. That more just gave me perspective. I don't think it really shaped my personality. It was just kind of cool to see something that was in the time period that I sort of, kind of grew up in.
I'm glad you put Mallrats on your list, and I was able to talk about that a little bit with you because, I mean, we talked about it on our View Askew episode. Those movies are very important to me as a teenager when I saw them. Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, like those three specifically.
I actually put Mallrats / Clerks.
Yeah, those three specifically really did kind of shape me a little bit, but I don't know. I think after I started writing things down and I had my list and I was moving stuff around, I was like, it would be so great to have nothing after the 80s on this list. And again, that's kind of my personality though. So.
Yeah, I know. That's true. Yeah. Because that's why I put / Clerks, because like Clerks is one that inspired me to like, hey, I can make movies. Yeah. I want to make movies. Yeah. And because it seems pretty basic. Like we were talking about production value in that last episode. Yeah. But Now You Know. Mm-hmm. And seeing that from Kevin Smith inspired me. Looks like he watched Slackers. Yeah. And then another reason I put Eternal Sunshine on my list as my honorable mention too was because the director, I'm forgetting his name. Gordon?
I have no idea.
Fuck. But like this, like, have you seen the movie?
Nope.
Oh fuck.
That's all right. But it's Jim Carrey, right?
Yeah, it's Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Charlie Kaufman
movie. Oh, okay.
And the way the person directs it is just so like they're erasing the memory of Kate Winslet in Jim Carrey's head, and like the way the sets just move around him. Like there's one shot in there that was a total one take, and things just started moving around them.
Oh,
and
wow.
Okay.
I've always been meaning to watch that movie.
When I saw that inspired me more as a director. Like, ooh, I want to do cool shit like this. Yeah. So there's like two sides of like why they inspired me. And kind of shaped me as being a Hollywood person, I guess, or movie guy.
Yeah. Dude, that makes a lot of sense, man.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it. Tell us what your guys' 5 movies are, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one thing like you can tell a lot from a person is when you know what their movies are.
And it's not your favorite movies either. Like
no, not your favorite. That's totally different.
Yeah. It's very important to make that distinction. And like I said, when Rick said he was having trouble with the 5th movie, and like he had kind of wanted to put a TV show, and I was like, put it, dude. That's fine. Put it.
I mean, I put Buffy in there.
But what I told him was, I said, if you can't think of 5 movies that shaped your personality, the way to go about it, the way to kind of think outside the box is describe yourself with 5 movies. And I think that's a little bit easier to grasp onto.
Yeah, that helped me a lot more.
So I think this episode is going to be describe yourself in 5 movies.
That's a good title.
Yeah.
I like it.
Because it's like 5 movies that shaped your personality. It's not as fun of a title.
I gotta remember that. Yeah. I'll see it when I'm editing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you have it, guys. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
Take us home.
All right. Thank you for taking the time, whether you watch us on YouTube or listen to us in the podcast catcher of your choice. We really appreciate it. We love the comments on YouTube. We respond. Yeah. We love it. We love the interaction. So if you can describe yourself in 5 movies, do it in the comments, man, because that'll be awesome to be able to interact with you guys.
Socials too.
Yeah, social media as well. All that'll be in the description below. And as always, we want to thank Nigel Bravo for this awesome music you're hearing right now. At Stoat Krow Komedy, Crow with a K, Comedy with a K on everything you can think of. Go check him out, man. He's a solid dude with awesome music.
Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.